Well, hello to everybody here. It's Teresa Sanderson, and I am super excited to connect with all of you again today for another episode of the Nurse Entrepreneur Spotlight. I've got with me today a very dear friend of mine, Damion Jenkins from New York City. Say hello, Damion.
Hello, Damion.
Love it,
Hi,
love it.
everyone.
Yeah, so we are going to have a really good and probably fun time right now talking with Damion, who is the founder of the Nurse Speak, NCLEX Strategies for Success. And so what Damion does, his products and services, his NCLEX Strategies for Success program is what he provides in educational consulting services for nurse-related training programs, schools, and universities. So he's doing some big things. Damion is a master's prepared RN, an NCLEX Prep Expert, education consultant, nationally recognized speaker, and a nurse mentor who has a real passion for nursing education and support services. He's the owner and lead education specialist at the Nurse Speak, and I just love that name, by the way.
Thank
And this
you.
is a nursing and consulting company. He specializes in providing individualized NCLEX prep tutoring services for new graduate nurses, especially those who have experienced unsuccessful attempts. And he's been partnering with nursing programs to help them increase their NCLEX pass rates. Fantastic. Damion offers a wide variety of educational and support programs that help transition the nurse into practice and align with their career and have a career that they want and deserve. His sole mission is to increase the number of nurses entering the profession and help them stay in the profession by developing strategies for success. Welcome, Damion.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Wow, it sounds like I do a lot of things after reading everything that you pulled. Yeah. Yeah. All I can say is that it was quite a struggle for me coming into the profession from second career.
Okay.
And I just saw so many gaps initially.
Mm-hmm.
Things that I wish I had answers to, or that I did have the answers to based on my prior experience, because a lot of the challenges we face in the nursing profession aren't really nursing specific,
Yep.
right? It has nothing to do with nursing knowledge or skill or medical
Mm-hmm.
anything, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I just really worked very hard to make sure that I made the pathway for others a lot smoother. And so because of that, this is why I've gotten into all the things that I've been doing now over the last, I've been in business officially since 2016. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So, you mentioned a couple of things there. Number one, nursing is not your first career. So I want to take a little
Correct.
step back in time for
Sure.
our viewers who don't know you and tell us a little bit about, the kind of work you were doing before you became a nurse and then the kind of work you got into in your early years as a nurse and, the kind of settings you've worked in and things like that.
Awesome. So I started off in the food and hospitality industry very early at the age of 14.
Wow.
Started off in a coffee shop working with my mom, who was the accountant for the organization. So, those labor laws type situation. I got to hang out with her in the
Yep.
evenings and serve the front of the house, all of the patrons who come in to get coffees and croissants and things like
Yep.
that in the French Quarter of New Orleans. From there, I just kind of bounced from a variety of food establishments, restaurants, a little bit of fast food, but mostly sit down, dine in restaurants. And I
Mm-hmm.
was working in the restaurant industry for about 15 years consistently,
Wow.
and was in school for culinary arts before I decided to make the shift to nursing. And the catalyst for me going into nursing was twofold.
Uh-huh.
One, I met one of my best friends who I worked with at the restaurant, and her husband happened to be a registered nurse. And
Oh.
so getting to develop a relationship with them, it was very kind of intriguing and inspiring to see one male representation in nursing, because we know it's predominantly female
Yep.
profession. And even back then, it was even more so than it is now. And then I was also really interested in the way that he was able to serve his community in a more meaningful way, and it offered job security. It was a pretty good salary, it was steady income, and he was very academic, right? His
Uh-huh.
The way he spoke and the way he was able to problem solve and the way he was able to move through complex situations, I thought to myself, wow, these are skills that I would really like to have.
Mm-hmm.
Already pretty much a problem solver and definitely a people pleaser being in the food and hospitality
You
industry.
gotta
I
be.
was like, how can I take those skills and change them to be more impactful? So, I was convinced the restaurant industry was actually failing at this time too. This was in our recession, 2005, 2006, 2007 era. So I decided it would be wise for me to maybe leave the food and hospitality industry and go into nursing. So I did. Straight out of school, I started off in a subacute rehab long-term care facility.
Mm-hmm.
They threw me straight in as charge nurse,
Oh
straight
man.
out of school. And I was like, what's going on? Right. So immediately going back to what I was saying about seeing the gaps, I was like, what is this buffoonery? Right. I was like, this
Yeah.
is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, right? So we have a very prestigious nursing community, big name universities and training hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
Even the long-term care facilities, have lots of partnerships with these universities. So I'm wondering what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out almost
Nobody's
13
figured it
years
out.
later. Right. But I realized a lot of the problems I was seeing and dealing with, again, weren't nursing specific. And so I was like constantly going to leadership and saying, hey, we have these situations. I have some recommendations. I think it would work if we just dedicate a little bit of time and resources to get these things running. And they weren't listening to me.
Mm-hmm.
They kept saying, you're a new nurse. You don't
Yeah,
know
you don't
what you're
know.
saying. It's always been this way. Um, just give it a few years. You'll toughen up and then it won't bother you so much anymore. And I was just like, this is unacceptable. I don't agree with any of this.
Yeah,
I believe that our patients deserve better. I believe that our profession deserves better. I believe our organizations even deserve better. The people putting in the money to invest in having these services, they deserve better outcomes so they can make
absolutely.
more money, so our businesses can grow, so that our patients can thrive and that the profession can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to figure out a way to either save my sanity and or position myself so I could really start to make the change that needed to be made. And so
Mhm.
I was on the fence about staying in the profession, honestly.
Wow.
Um, I almost left. There was, a handful of reasons why I should leave and a handful of reasons why I should stay.
Mm-hmm.
And after deliberating for about a month, whether I'm going to stay or go, I
Mm-hmm.
decided I'm going to stay, but I'm going to stay in the capacity as a nurse educator.
Love
And
it.
so I needed to position myself so that I could become a credentialed nurse educator. So I went right back into school 6 months out of my registered nurse program. I went back into school for my master's in nursing education. And
Wow.
for the next 3 years, while I completed that program, I went to acute care because I knew I
Mm-hmm.
needed to. And I was in all settings. Honestly, the only settings I have not worked in full time, I've done float shifts or like per diem shifts, but
Mm-hmm.
pediatrics, I have not spent time there. I have not spent time in the emergency room, and I
Mm-hmm.
have not spent time in any kind of obstetrical setting,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
OBGYN, postpartum, labor
Yep.
delivery. Haven't spent time there, but I've been everywhere else. All of the ambulatory services, all the way through acute care, long-term care, rehab, and nursing
Mm-hmm.
academia, and even working in healthcare organizations as staff development,
Mm-hmm.
education. So I've done a lot of things in the almost 13 years that I've been a registered nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And I am continuing to just get a lot of different experiences with education development, creating hybrid programs for organizations, assisting directors of nursing and enhancing their staff development, all of
Mm-hmm.
those types of things. I'm continuing to do with all of the skills that I've accomplished and gained over the years. So I've done a lot.
I love that. I
Thank
love
you.
that. So wonderful to hear. And so tell me, you've worked kind of in and all around nursing. What drew you to entrepreneurship? I know you were taking this shift now to nursing education. Tell us a little bit
Mhm.
about that.
Mhm. Well, I did it because I wanted to do things my way, honestly. Too many times have I heard the saying, this is the way we've always done it. Why are you trying to recreate the wheel? Just just modify what we already have in place and it will be fine. And that's not always true. Sometimes you do have to burn it down and rebuild it in order to make the change that you're looking for. Now we have a ton of resources that we can repurpose, right? A lot of us in business repurpose our resources because we don't want to recreate the wheel unnecessarily because it wastes time and money. But when you have a broken system, sometimes there's not enough super glue to hold it together. You have to break it apart and rebuild it from the ground up. And so I was seeing that the first focus in my business and kind of drawing me to entrepreneurship is when I was working in nursing academia. Just like I was being told, this is the way it always is, and you're just a new nurse and you don't understand, and eventually it'll make sense to you. I was getting the same kind of feedback now as a professional registered nurse of over 4 years of experience and a master's degree in nursing education. I was being told the same thing, but now in an academic setting. And so, again, bringing very simple resolutions to some of the problems we were having, but being told because I'm a new nurse educator, I don't know what I'm doing. And so I really worked diligently to see how could I convince my peers and colleagues to change the way we were doing things, to help our students better grasp the concepts that we were teaching, how there were big gaps between our expectations for exams to the expectations in skills, to the expectations in clinical, to the expectations of finishing the program and then passing the NCLEX. Lots of gaps, lots of failures. Like we're losing people left and right. In my opinion, if you have 70 people start a fundamentals class, you should leave with at least 65. You should graduate at least 65 of
Amen
them.
to
You're
that.
going to have some people leaving. Some people have family emergencies. They drop out, they drop dead. It happens. This is life. But we shouldn't be getting down to 30 people out of 70. So reevaluate our criteria for even getting the people in those seats in the first place. Maybe that's the first place we need to start. So just being very passionate about making sure people are successful. I mean, that's why I signed up to be a nurse educator. I want to make sure people I teach are successful. Why are we being told we can't, or we won't, or no? And I'm like, this isn't good for me. So after, several years, 7 years, trying to get many faculty across many systems to kind of change the way we were doing things, even contacting the Board of Nursing and getting Board of Nursing buy-in. Mind you, I'd personally reach out to the Board of Nursing as a registered nurse and say, hey, these are the problems. These are some of the solutions I'm proposing. Would you have any problems if the school tried to recreate the curriculum in this manner? And they were all like, no, we need this. But it all came down to the bottom line of the organization, the business entity of the school didn't want to fund the additional staff or the additional time in the programs that it would take to implement these changes.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So therefore we couldn't. And so that right there made me say, you know what? I'm going to do it myself then. I got too many referrals from the school for helping our unsuccessful students pass because I had a knack for understanding what they needed, but they wouldn't let me implement that program into the coursework. So I don't know. And they had me as a faculty member, so it wouldn't have been any additional cost to them. Wow. We just needed more time, and they wouldn't give it to us. So after struggling with that back and forth for many years, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do this on my own. Because at least I can attract the people who are being left behind, who make it through nursing school and still can't pass the NCLEX. At least I can give them what they need so they can be successful. Exactly. And that was kind of my catalyst for starting my own business.
Wow. I absolutely love that story and just really hitting on addressing a need. And I have to say, congratulations on going to the Board of Nursing and being able to propose a change to curriculum. And this is where change begins, right? This is what we have. These are the steps we have to take to be able to move things into a different way. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. And you know what? I've made some good friends over at the Board of Nursing in Maryland now. And so there were people to my services, which is excellent. Again, and it just started with a conversation. Hey, I have a question.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So tell me, I want to move into now, how do you serve your clients? We've talked about who you serve, and I've seen your passion for that. So say I am somebody who comes to you and says, Damion, I just graduated from nursing school. I've taken the NCLEX twice already, and I just can't, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I just choke, in the moment and can't think, or don't understand the questions. Maybe I think too hard about the questions. How do you help me?
Yeah, so I actually created a very comprehensive program that takes my clients through, or even prospective clients, because I offer a lot even before they decide to buy into my program. I help them kind of figure out their readiness, right? So all nurses, we have these readiness assessments that we can do to determine if our interventions are even appropriate at that time. And so I give them a complimentary readiness assessment to determine their ability to focus in the manner that they need to be successful. Because oftentimes, we get to a point to where we want to accomplish certain things in life, but we're not ready. Right. I've been working on certifications, and sometimes those certifications take years to finish because life just keeps getting in the way. I'm not ready. So instead of wasting my clients' time and money, I make sure that I do that complimentary readiness assessment first. So I take them through kind of a work-life study balance assessment just to see if they're ready. If they do show that they're ready and they're invested, then I get them into my program, and there are multiple assessments that not only challenge their baseline understanding of what they should know from their school, but also to kind of shift that perspective, moving from student to nurse, and making sure that they really embody the roles and responsibilities of the nurse, something that nursing programs often fail to meet. Right. And then take them through all of the strategies, the concepts, the rules, the guidelines, the anatomy of questions, and then give them a variety of scenarios to make sure that they understand how to apply what they're learning in the program. Then I introduce them to so many resources that are out there in the public space for free that breaks my heart that nursing programs are not directing their students to, such as the NCSBN website.
Yes.
There's so many helpful resources there for test takers that if they use that as part of their training in their programs, the students would come out a lot less confused about what the expectations of the NCLEX are. There's so much misinformation floating around the internet about the NCLEX. Why not point them to the right sources, right? So then I just walk them through the process, right? And so they get a concierge level service with me. They can message me, they can schedule, check-in calls with me. I have preset amount of tutoring sessions that they get with the program, and then they can always add on additional sessions if they need more time than that. But the average person, gets all they need from the preset sessions. And so, and then after they're done and they graduate and they pass, then they keep me as a mentor for life. They stay in my network, and I update them, and I check in with them, and I see asking them for another dollar, because my goal truly is to help them, not to drain their bank account.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I love what you're doing. And I think what I love most about it is that it's nursing process in action. It's looking at the individual and determining, what do you personally, individually need to be able to move from point A to point B. It's not saying I have one answer that fits everybody.
Correct. That is correct.
I love that.
And that's what makes it so individualized for the individual, or even the organization that I'm assisting. Yep.
Fantastic. So tell me this, you work for yourself. I know that you're still employed. What do you love most about being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I'm gonna be very honest. I don't love all aspects of being an entrepreneur. It's difficult work. If anyone says it's not, they're lying.
Yep.
Right. It's difficult. There's a lot of unknowns when you're coming up about. So, there's a lot of back end stuff that I don't love. But what I do love is the fact that I've been able to make that meaningful impact in the way that I knew people needed that product or service, right? So when I work for an employer, whether it's a school or a healthcare organization, whatever, I'm very limited in how much I can do because everything has an approval process. There's a lot of red tape, there's financial considerations, time considerations, resources, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I'm creating my content or booking my seminars or going and speaking on a national stage, I
Mm-hmm.
have full control over how I deliver that product or service.
Yeah.
And so with that, it means that I'm able to truly step into my power and my skill set and feel 100% fulfilled because I'm getting the outcomes that I set out to get in the first place. Whether I have one client that's successful or over 2,800 clients that I've helped pass the NCLEX,
Mm-hmm.
which is true to date,
That's so awesome.
it's way more meaningful. I would have never been able to reach this many people who have had unsuccessful attempts if I still worked for the same nursing program.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been able to help that many more nurses get into the profession. They would have been left behind.
And in the specific way that you knew they needed to be helped and wanted to help and serve them. I think
Correct.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that. And I have to
Correct.
agree with you, entrepreneurship is definitely not for the faint of heart.
It's
It's,
not.
I think I
It's
had a
not.
post today that said, it's business, not magic. And
I
it's,
saw that, and
yeah,
thank you, because those are words we all need to hear.
exactly. Yeah.
It's not true. They don't always come if you build it. That's not true. There's a lot more
No.
thought that needs to go into it than that.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm going to share just a quick aside here while we're doing this, but this year, 2023, actually marks the 10th year that I have been, and you would think this is a big hurrah, right? Well, it's not. It is 10 years that I have been working to achieve the level of success and financial freedom that I'm at today.
Mm-hmm.
I started transitioning my business skills from feet on the ground grassroots marketing to the digital space in 2013.
Mm.
And years ago, one of my bosses said I had this dogged tenacity. He said, she never misses a deadline. But I just remember that term, and I used to laugh at that. But I'm grateful today for tenacity.
Yeah.
But there were hard times, launching and failing. It happens.
Yeah.
But I think it's true, though, if you stick with it, it can happen.
Consistency. It's really about consistency.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I love that you shared. Love that you shared. I don't really love every part of it.
no, I mean, do we love every part of our profession 100%? No.
Yeah.
And no matter where you are in the spectrum of your profession, there's going to be things about it that you don't enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like a lot of the back end stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the accounting and the legal things, and I don't love that stuff. I just want to
Yeah.
be the nurse educator. I don't want to have to worry about all it. But that's why we pay other people to take care of those things who do enjoy those things, and that's their specialty or their wheelhouse.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
Right.
I'm going to move into this question because you recently added something awesome to your already amazing program. You recently stepped into the world of nursing continuing education and actually were one of my many awesome and amazing clients. So I want to thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to work with you and serve you in that capacity. But tell us a little bit about how you plan to use nursing CE in your business.
Yeah, awesome. So again, I've created so many courses over the years to help with ongoing professional development, skills, to help nursing assistants have a better take care of patients, nurses to take care of patients, how to even interact within their own profession, right? How do we deal with conflict? How do we deal with that family member that is accusing us of causing harm? Just a lot of these things that we don't get appropriate training for. And so I've created a lot of these courses that for a long time I have been leasing out to other companies, allowing them to host them on their websites and make much more of the profit. I get a very small margin of that profit. So I decided, you know what, I've been doing this for a while. I have a nice library of information. People are already coming to my business to seek that professional development. So I think becoming a CNE provider was the next step for me to make sure that one, it shows authority by being an approved provider. And two, it really just offers another valuable resource for people who come through my programs and services. It's going to be mostly used as just an add-on for my subscription services or for my membership services. In addition to someone who may not be in my network, who just wants a quick, I need to earn my credits so I can keep my license up to date. Let me just do this because I trust this person. And then they have that option as well.
Fantastic. I love that. And I think that's one of the things that I hear from so many nurses is that, I have this course and I've been teaching it already. And, I would love to be able to give credit for that. How would I even go about that? And there's a big mystery out there about how do you even become a CE provider? Can anybody other than a hospital do it? So I just love that, we connected and able to help you in that way, because I believe that is the biggest benefit, I think, is that you immediately land as an expert and authority in your field when you come to the table as a CE provider. I mean, you become the only logical choice. Why would I want to go anywhere else?
Yeah.
Right. So I love that. So now you used, Damion, my done for you nursing CE application services. So I did your entire application for you, and poof, you were a CE provider.
It was literally poof. It was like magic, but without it being magic, because you were doing work on your end, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. So one of my clients, I just have to share this. The funniest testimonial I got is that she told me, Teresa, it was so easy, I thought it was a scam.
I mean, I didn't think it was a scam because I'd already met you. We met at National Nurses and Business Association. I had you on my podcast before.
Yep.
But it was incredibly easy.
Love it.
And the value, honestly, the price of the program, it was definitely worth every penny because I didn't have to lift a finger. Initially you asked for some documents, some proof of some courses that I've written. But other than that, I already had that stuff on hand. So I just sent you a couple emails and that was that. So I highly recommend, if anyone's looking to be a CE provider, Teresa could do it all for you. She could either walk you through the process and you can figure it out on your own, or she can literally just do it for you. I didn't have to do anything. Now I have to do the work of creating the space to host those platforms, which you and I will talk about at a later time. Because I need some ideas of the best way to do that with the technologies I'm using currently.
Absolutely. I can definitely help you with that. Well, thank you for sharing that. That means the world to me. And I just think there are so many nurses who are using now nursing CE in different ways. And I think, I'm actually have a poll going on right now of what nurses feel is lacking in continuing ed, or the challenge of it. And mostly people are saying non-engaging content.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just poorly presented. It can be great, but if we don't deliver it right, it's useless. Yeah. It's useless. So I love what you're doing with it. I love that you're going to bring it to your programs. And I just wish you the most abundant success in that. I just think it's an amazing opportunity. Yeah. So, all right, Damion, we're getting close to the finish line here. And I want to hear from you. What is the one piece of advice that you would just, feel compelled to share with any aspiring nurse entrepreneur who came to you and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing? What is the one piece of advice you would feel like you needed to give them?
Yeah, I think this goes along with a lot of the same presentations that I do on a lot of the national stages here. And that's really making sure that you truly align yourself with your strengths, right? The things that you're good at. You don't want to take on a business that you don't know anything about or that you're not good at. Just because skincare is a hot item, if you know nothing about skincare, that's not your wheelhouse. It's going to be too much of a learning curve for you to just jump right into. So you're taking a major risk that's probably not going to pay out for you. So instead, leverage the skills and the talents that you currently have that you're very good at, and then create your products or services surrounding that. There are plenty of experts like Teresa and I who can help you with the things that you're not great at, right? We're not going to hold your hand and walk you through your strengths. Those things, but you need to know those things. So really focus on that And then when you start to build your products or services surrounding your strengths, the rest is easy because you focus on that and then you let the professionals handle the rest. And then it runs really smoothly at that point.
That is such powerful advice. Thank you for sharing that. And I think, it goes along with so many things, working with your innate gifts and talents, the things that you already know and do well. Why start? Why start something totally, 180 degrees off course from you? So love that. Fantastic advice. So Damion, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. And right now, I want to give you the stage so that you can share with our viewers how they can connect with you and any special offers, anything like that you have going on. So the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. So, I've been really busy just planning out a bunch of ways that I can connect with individuals who need help improving NCLEX prep. So whether it is nursing programs, individual instructors who just want to kind of learn how can they get the upper hand on enhancing their classroom's critical thinking, NCLEX preparedness. I'm hosting live events that I'm going to start doing. I'm actually doing one today, and today's Friday, so this might air later. Today's Friday, the 27th. I'm doing one 2-hour event later today. But, live events in person for seminar weekends, and I'm doing online seminars. So if you want to know what I'm up to, I'm always up to something new. Just visit thenursespeak.com. There's lots of resources for you there. There's a professional development page. There's a past NCLEX page where you can find out all of the things I'm doing for NCLEX. There's a way that you can connect with me there just by visiting several of the pages or the contact page where you can book a virtual coffee with me and just chat. Let me know a little bit about you. Let me know a little bit about how I might be of service to you, how you might be of service to me. I'm always looking to expand my network and see how we can collaborate. So I have a blog and a podcast, so many wonderful resources out there to just truly enhance the nursing profession, the voice of nurses, and to help empower those coming into the profession so that they can be prepared to handle the complex healthcare system that we're dealing with today and thrive. That's really my goal.
I love that. I love that. And I definitely want to encourage all of our viewers here. If you are someone who has struggled, to pass the NCLEX, if you're in that position and you need some support, schedule one of those virtual coffees with Damion, get to know what he's got to offer. Or if you know somebody who's in that space, we as nurses can support them. We can point them in the right direction to resources because we need to bring more nurses into the profession. We need to stop the bleeding of them leaving and bring more in. So again, Damion, I want to thank you for being our guest today. Absolutely. And for everybody here, I want to thank you for viewing and being a part of my journey. And we will see you on the next episode of the Nurse Entrepreneur Spotlight. Bye for now.